All righty. Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar, Your Path to Cloud. My name is Matt Pettit, and I'm the marketing manager here at Domain, and I'm excited to introduce our speaker and this webinar. Today, we're going to show you next generation cloud software functionality that many of us have been anticipating for years. We are pleased to be able to share some of this today. Before I introduce Jeff, let's address a few housekeeping items. We will have 3 poll questions during the webinar today, and I will share those results as they are entered in. We're going to hold a Q&A towards the end of the presentation as well, so feel free to enter any questions that you have at any point during the webinar. Every question will get an answer, and if we don't get to your question or if we run out of time at the end, we will email you an answer directly. At the conclusion of the webinar, there's going to be a short 60-second survey that will ask how we did today. So please take that time to respond. We value being able to share what we know with you and want to deliver our message in an engaging way. So hearing your thoughts helps us do so better. There will be a recorded version of this webinar provided. So if you needed to leave early, don't feel too heartbroken about it, but we will email out a link when that's made available, along with the slides from today's presentation as well. And we also wanted to announce that we're going to be having another webinar in about 2 weeks. The evolving role of PLM in the digital future, where we're going to be joined by a special guest and industry expert, Mr. Oleg Shilovitsky. This is going to be a great look into his observations of industry trends and the PLM as a whole as he sees it. Without further ado, let's dive into today's webinar. Today we're going to be covering Your Path to Cloud, from Oracle Agile to PLM 4.0. You're going to learn about how modern PLM technology is making lofty product concepts that were once thought to be out of reach that are now realistic. Why the next generation of PLM means looking outside in rather than inside out. And by that, I'm talking about new innovations coming from all kinds of new sources. IT, quality, your customers, social media, digitally connected PLM will address a much broader footprint than just engineering and product design and development. Jeff Nichols will be presenting today. He is the VP of Professional Services here at Domain. And in his 20 years of guiding companies in their PLM pursuits, he has seen the landscape change and change continually to where we are today. And with that, Jeff, I turn the time over to you.
Great, thank you, Matt. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate your attendance to this. Let's go ahead and dive in if we can, please. And so to begin with, from an introduction perspective, I want to thank in advance. There's some content as part of this presentation that comes from SIM data, from surveys and things of that nature, as well as from Oracle. So thank you to them for that information. All right, we're going to talk about 4 takeaways: the evolution of PLM, next generation of PLM, the digital transformation and what that means, how quality is key to this evolution, PLM in the cloud, and then ultimately making the move, and then followed up with summary and questions and answers. So let's get started. So there are 4 takeaways that I want to make sure that you walk out of this presentation with. The first is modern product innovation platforms are making once lofty PLM visions and strategies achievable, right? Technology changes. We get, there's more and more capability, and there's more and more need for that innovation. Number 2 is that any digital transformation must address product definition data. Digital transformation will be unsuccessful unless you have product-centric data as part of it. Number 3, connecting quality inspections and operational data via Internet of Things and predictive analysis or analytics drives good decision and a closed-loop corrective action across products, resources, and suppliers. All right, so this is where quality comes in and is key to this whole evolution. And the last takeaway is, if you haven't got a plan already to evolve, or you're working on a strategy, you need to start now. the train has left the station. All right, so in the mid 1900s, I fit into that realm. Various athletes trained by pushing hard and as long as they could. That was their training plan, right? I grew up, I was involved in that, right? Just run more distance or ride your bike longer or further, whatever. And the harder the mindset was the harder that I push and the more time I spent surely would lead to these gains and results of performance. So I thought. What happened is that I got burned out. I got tired of it. My kids even got tired of it. And eventually it led to either mental or physical breakdowns, right? Generically, that's what happens. Well, in today's world, the world's best athletes are turning to advanced technology for maximum potential. Sports are driven now by analytics and by data. Incremental measurements and tracking are being analyzed in real time to make these prescriptive living plans. All right, so what was yesterday is not good for today or in the future. When we talk about evolution of PLM, the creation of CAD software freed us up from drafting tables and print rooms. Before the 1900s or 1990s, excuse me, PDM solutions were CAD-centric and focused almost entirely on CAD file and document management. This quickly expanded into the managing of bills of material and engineering change processes, but still remained focused around product development. In the later in the late 1990s, early 2000s, you end up with globalization requirements, outsourcing, time to market pressures forced companies to expand their PDM deployments into what is now known as PLM solutions. These introduced the robust security and collaboration features that were needed for globalization, outsourcing, and partnering with suppliers, as well as it included quality planning, manufacturing, and product compliances. While PDM was still the core of any PLM solution, legacy systems were neither complete nor user-friendly and required extensive and expensive and extensive customizations. In the late or early 2000s, what you've got is PLM emerged, incorporating more capabilities across the life cycle, including innovation, requirements management, improved connectivity with downstream solutions such as manufacturing and ERP systems. In many cases, these capabilities were required and integrated with legacy tools. While companies were able to leverage this new functionality, it was much more complex and still required extensive customizations. Today, as pressures continually drove the initial development of PDM and early PLM solutions, business demanded better solutions to meet their product and process innovation requirements, as well as the latest digital transformation and Industry 4.0 initiatives. In the past few years, the convergence of cloud, Internet of Things, connected products, and machine learning, as well as augmented and virtual reality, are enabling companies to transform how they design, manufacture, and sell their products. Now, we're going to enter into a poll right now. So, Matt, if you want to trigger that off. If you can, based upon on the screen from the evolution, where do you find yourselves? All right, let's go ahead and continue while you're finishing up that poll. All right, so with this next generation of PLM, traditionally PLM solutions were toolkits that often required extensive customizations to meet business requirements. They were implemented to support an initial engineering-centric point of view. Product innovation was constrained by internal walls of the enterprise. This inside looking out legacy approach focused on the parts, the bill of material, and CAD integrations, and in best case scenario, ERP integrations, provided minimal analytical capabilities were also considered in scope. Now, in today's fast-paced, customer-centric business, leading organizations use analytics, data-driven approaches, and anticipate customer needs, leveraging supply chain and ensure customer satisfaction. This outside looking in approach tightly links the voice of the customer and the voice of the product to the digital twin, delivering a visible, necessary for smarter innovation. Now, we've heard digital transformation several times throughout that brief introduction here, but digital transformation without PLM will not move the needle. All right, products generate the revenue, so improving the products and related services will generate value customers and customers expect to pay for it. This is not a new concept, and it still holds true. The pressures on companies to innovate are not new. Globalization, regulation, cost of quality, expectations of quality, and product complexity all continue to increase. Companies must be able to calculate and anticipate the changing demands of the evolving customer. Meeting customer expectations in the digital age requires fast access to real-time global product data and nimble business operating models. I can remember looking back when my kids were growing up, and they grew up in this digital age where they were expecting things instantaneously. That's because whether they were browsing on the computer on a website, or they were on their phone or tablet, they searched for something, they got instantaneous information. Where historically we had to go to the library, look up the library card, use the Dewey Decimal System, find a book, and then research that book to find the answers that we were looking for. So the fundamental shift in paradigm provides companies, well, this paradigm shift provides companies with an opportunity to evolve into a trusted source of business value while increasing collaboration with their customers to feed innovation cycles. So the availability of this technology to effectively support the digital transformation, product information platforms are able to now create, capture, and manage digital twin information. Modern integration technologies are available, enabling connections to other platforms. Internet of Things can be used to drive predictive maintenance if you're monitoring a solution that you've sold. You've got advanced analytics capability that can leverage machine learning, as well as helping to identify and anticipate what the customer needs might be. Now, we've heard about the digital twin, the digital thread. The digital thread, digital transformation requires a connected next generation PLM solution that supports Industry 4.0 requirements. PLM implementations need to expand beyond the traditional product master to digitally thread data across the entire product lifecycle and through barriers of siloed information. The digital thread provides the true foundation for end-to-end connected digital product chains, and delivers the traceability necessary to quickly track the entire lifecycle of a product from its initial idea and design through commercialization, in-field use, and service. Using the digital thread to link the structure that describe the product over its lifecycle is an example that is shown in this image. Data from the field is voluminous or huge and very noisy, right? It comes in from a myriad of field service engineers, each one of them with their own way of capturing information and of articulating certain things. That typically needs to be processed into a usable format. You've got perhaps the most important issue is understanding the context and configuration of the product that the performance data is collected from. So it's not only important to have the data, but you've got to understand the context that that data is representing. Linking ideas and requirements to raw or processed social listening data, right? Linking yourselves out to the social media area and absorbing that information drives towards innovation. Through all of this, one cannot forget about quality, right? Getting the right things done correctly, but faster. There's three main elements, and digitizing the quality processes have been a driver to achieving Industry 4.0 initiatives. Quality touches most processes during the life cycle as the product matures, from design to manufacturing through to service. For many companies, each process step represents a data silo consisting of data from disparate systems that require human glue to keep together. With quality management enabled by product innovation platforms, quality planning, control, and compliance processes become a streamlined, collaborative single source of truth that supports capturing, triaging, and managing issues across the requirements. So there's three main areas: data management, processes for standardization, and then managing design and document control for compliance purposes. All this is critical in bringing your products to market successfully in a faster fashion. Now, let's go. We've got another poll. Matt, if you want to go ahead and initiate that, that'd be great. While you are taking the poll, let's keep going from the standpoint of, let's talk about PLM and the cloud. Again, thanks to SimData, they did a survey in March and April of 2017 of current and prospective cloud PLM customers. As you can see from the data, companies are open to cloud PLM. Even though 73% of respondents indicated interest in cloud-based PLM, 79% of the respondents indicated that their companies have already deployed an enterprise application in the cloud, most commonly a CRM or an ERP type solution. All right, as we look at the drivers for cloud adoption, the SimData study that was conducted in partnership with several solution providers, the study found that customers are very interested in the convenience and economic advantages of the cloud. The top 4 benefits, ease of management, ability to scale up and down, faster time to value, and reduced capital expenditure, top the list. Moving on to why companies are objecting, or what their obstacles are indicating that why they don't want to go to the cloud, or they're struggling going to the cloud, or delaying going to the cloud, is that not surprisingly, number 2 on the list here is security, right? However, that being said, most cloud solution providers tell you that it's just as safe to log in to their cloud solution as it is to do your online banking. They follow the same protocols, the same security requirements, same security certifications, etc. But nonetheless, the other top-ranked issues centered on the ability of cloud solutions to be able to integrate to other enterprise solutions, the inability to customize for specific needs, and they're struggling with the confidence in a provider keeping and maintaining the performance needs and requirements and expectations, to where they cannot go next door to their IT group and say, hey, why is this going so slow, and get immediate response, right? Many companies are managing a hybrid of on-premise and cloud solution, or they know that they're going to have to do that and they're kind of hesitant. But nonetheless, in summary, customers are looking for secure, scalable, and configurable solutions that integrate readily with other enterprise systems. Pre-built and configurable enterprise integrations are already available by many PLM applications, plus solution providers and their partners are continually adding new integration capabilities. Security is not a simple cloud or no cloud question. Securing a cloud PLM solution and system requires a layered security model and partnering with a partner that maintains industry recognized security certifications. Right? With that, the need to innovate is highlighted in the classic 1997 book by Clayton Christensen, The Innovator's Dilemma, which describes how the need to sustain business success in the face of technology changes can, if not managed deliberately, undermine the long-term outlook of an organization. So in other words, if you're not able to manage and change as technology changes, your outlook doesn't look too well. In fact, in a 2014 report from McKinsey, it documented that the decreasing tenure of companies within the S&P 500 stock index, that a prime driver for the disappearance of these companies is the failure to innovate continuously. And the need for innovation will never go away, and using a cloud-like solution provides the ability to link and include your external partners in a much easier, understandable, visible, and collaborative way. Now, when we talk about cloud, where there's many types, right? There's, the National Institute of Standards defines 3 different ones: software as a service, called SaaS, platform as a service, PaaS, and infrastructure as a service, IaaS, or IaaS. Okay, most PLM solution providers are of a SaaS model. All right, it's important to understand when you are looking at a flavor of cloud, what the architecture models are. There are single tenant solutions as well as multi-tenant solutions. In that single tenant solution, each customer has an instance and it's physically separated from anybody else. In a multi-tenant solution, you've got multiple customers sharing a single instance with logical separation of data in order to maintain security and separation. All right, so when you're talking about going to cloud, you need to make sure that you understand what flavor of cloud is being offered, and you need to make sure that it meets an expectation or addresses any concerns that you might have. Now, thanks to Oracle, this is their architecture of their supply of their online, of their cloud. So as one option, Oracle supports an end-to-end unified business process required by supply chains of the 21st century. Now, companies such that are deploying an Oracle ERP cloud module, it's already built to consume the PLM release process into the product management, manufacturing, planning, and configure to order quote solutions. Right, so it is one instance and one big huge database that puts all that information accessible to each of the various applications. You know, Oracle has a wide footprint of applications built to address this Industry 4.0 transformation initiative. Additionally, excuse me, Oracle's cloud is a business platform capable of supporting a comprehensive set of information capabilities required by today's modern business requirements. Well beyond the scope of PLM, Oracle Cloud is an example of an enterprise business platform that can scale to meet the requirements of the largest businesses. Notice that it takes into account the social collaboration, the real-time analytics, the one enterprise data model. All right, so are you ready to make the move? There's 3 types of moves that you can make. The first one being you're going to augment what you do today, where you take and extend your existing PLM solution with additional cloud functionality. You can incrementally approach it, and it takes 2 forms. First off, by turning off functionality in existing systems and bringing them online in the cloud, or alternatively, decentralized organizations can roll out implementations incrementally across the business unit. So you can incrementally grow. Or you do the wholesale switchover, which can make sense to some customers, especially depending upon what their compelling driver for change might be, and what kind of impact, what they feel like it would take to do that, to just turn off and move to a cloud-based solution. So with that, we have one more poll that we want to throw out there. All right, and then in conclusion, I gave you the 4 takeaways. There's 5 points of conclusion and in summary, and so there was one added here. First, and it was the fact that product data is the core of any successful digital transformation. All right, we learned how innovation platforms are making, or legacy innovation platforms are now reaching lofty PLM visions that were once unachievable through many different opportunities or many other different types of technologies. Digital transformation initiatives must be addressed or must address the product definition data in order to have real business impact. And then connecting quality through IoT, predictive analysis, good decisions for, can lead to good decisions for good closed loop corrective actions. And then last but not least, the train's already left the station. If you haven't, you need to craft or start strategizing how you're going to work in the future in order to support and maintain an Industry 4.0 with a PLM 4.0. With that, go ahead and open it up for any questions.
All right, thank you, Jeff. We've had 2 come in so far, but go ahead and type in any questions you guys have in the Q&A section or in the chat, and we'll get those answered. But the first one is are you seeing user adoption issues with the Oracle Cloud PLM end users?
We have seen some, yes. Most of that was in the early stages. As you know, Oracle Cloud has been available now for, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years. And of course, as everybody knows, and it's not a secret, it struggled initially. But Oracle has come a long way with understanding and realizing and enhancing Oracle's PLM Cloud solution to better meet the needs of its customers.
Excellent. And the second question we have here is, what is your customer training approach during and after the implementation?
I guess that depends upon 2 things. One, are you an existing PLM user of something such as Agile or another PLM solution? If you are, then the training approach is comprised of 3 pieces. One, the customer is involved throughout the entire design activity of that PLM solution in the cloud. So they're learning through being involved and being a core member. The second one is understanding and the training that is there to describe how your legacy system did this function this way. In the future, it will be doing it this way. And then lastly is just comprehensive training on the solution, on the revised new methodology that may be used in the cloud, but yet, PLM is PLM. It manages, the methodologies and the concepts are the same no matter whether you're on a premise or you're out in the cloud. So again, if you're brand new, then the difference between an old and a new is ignored, but the first and third description I gave you are still applicable.
All right, looks like we got a few more. One of those questions is, can you outline again the risks associated with a mixed move to cloud versus going all at once?
Yeah, well, the first risk that would be where you're making incremental is the fact that you've got your business units, because it's focused, you've got to identify which pieces of the business or which I guess which product sets are going to the cloud versus living in my on-premise. And so you've got people, one of the big risks is the fact that you've got people living in 2 different worlds. And they have to make the intelligent decision of, okay, is this one in the cloud or is this one not in the cloud? And they have to balance that. That right there, in my opinion, is the toughest thing. Is having your users be, I guess I'll say, satisfied with a cloud and on-premise solution that depending upon what product or what process, they have to decide where they're going to go, and they're having to then log in and wrap their head around two different solutions.
Thank you. We have another question here. Has Oracle improved their audit capability and history traceability within Cloud PLM?
I know that they have made a lot of strides in that area, so I will say yes. But I don't know when the last the last time you were looking at it. If it was a couple years ago, yeah, they've increased it quite a bit. If you were looking at it 3 months ago, then obviously it would not have changed much. So yeah, I don't know where you are in your evaluation or reference point.
All righty, another 2 questions it seems. Can you comment on the maturity level today of the Cloud PLM offering? And then maybe before you answer that one, there was a follow-up to the previous question just asked, and it says they looked last 2 years ago.
Okay, so yeah, it would be better. The audit would be better. All right, the maturity level. It's been an exponential curve from just even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, with the maturity level of Oracle's Cloud PLM solution. I don't see that declining much. They had a lot of work to do. They got a lot of it done. They're still working on it. So it is continuing to evolve, but there are several customers that are, many customers that are using it. Granted, every customer has unique requirements, and whether it would meet your requirement or not, I don't know. But yes, the maturity has, grown exponentially. Think of it in dog years, right? I mean, even though I've had my dog for 4 years, he's 28 years old. So, exponential growth.
All righty, another one is there an average timeline I can expect for a project of moving? Can you maybe share a few examples?
Timeline of a project moving, like a migration project from on-premise
to the
to
cloud, I
cloud?
believe.
Okay, so yeah, depending upon your requirements, okay, if you take cloud as it is, you're looking, I would say somewhere in the 12 to 14 week time frame. All right, if you have unique special requirements, then it could be longer. But yeah, so we've deployed it in 12 to 14 weeks. Sometimes it's taken a little longer, but those were unique circumstances. So I don't know if that helps.
Thank you. We have one more question, it seems, and that is, what is your position of upgrading to the latest version of on-premise, Agile versus Cloud PLM?
Well, it depends upon what your organizational strategies are, right? If your organizational strategies have not got a clear, distinct, very well-defined, laid out strategy of moving to the cloud, I would say upgrade to the latest version of Agile PLM, the 936, and that buys you time to take advantage of the cloud's continual maturity, but also buys you the time to develop structure and lay out a solid, comprehensive plan.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Please take the next 60 seconds once we end this webinar to answer that survey that I mentioned before and that we're going to be showing at the conclusion. And then we will be sending out the webinar recording shortly. So be sure to keep an eye out for an email following up for this one. But thank you, everybody, and thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful day.